Hola Satyarthi, ¿cómo estás?
Hello, Teba.
Hola.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sitting here with you. It's nice to be here with you. Yeah,
Sí.
yeah.
Encantada de verte también
Mm,
y bueno, de tener esta oportunidad de hablar del trabajo que tú haces, de esta dinámica relacional sistémica somática, que bueno, es el
mhm.
título de todo el trabajo que tú estás haciendo ahora mezclando constelaciones y bueno, mejor tú me explicas qué significa todo esto.
Before, we used to call it systemic family therapy or family constellation, which came from Hellinger.
Ujú.
And for me, over the years, it became a little difficult to actually target trauma. For example, sexual abuse in the family, or accidents, shocks, overwhelming experiments, yeah,
Ujú.
that you live through. And through somatic experience, we can detect the neurological triggers in the body. That is somatica. Yeah.
Ay, entiendo.
Somatica means in the body, there is memory stored in the nervous system.
Ujú.
And that affects our behavior and our capacity to relate. So normally when we relate and we had a healthy background where the parents could respond to the pain and the emotional needs of the child. If you have a healthy background, you're learning actually from your parents to organize your emotions because there's a response to it.
Ajá.
Yeah. And because there's a welcome to your pain and there's a welcome to your needs when you reach out, reach out to your parents and you need their caring and you need their support and security.
Ujú.
If that is not given, if this is not there, then the nervous system or the brain mobilizes stress response. Here, I'm alone, I'm not safe, I have to look for somebody else. And you try to orient yourself in a different direction. So you cannot hold the mobilization activation within your body, and that changes your relational patterns.
Ajá.
Because what you really want, you want to maintain the secure bond to your parents. So you avoid that within you. You avoid the needs because it helps to not disturb your parents, to not ask for what they can give you.
Ay, entiendo.
Yeah.
Ujú.
And you in that pattern, if it is repeated in your development, in your childhood, slowly, you adapt to your parents' needs to secure the relationship. And later, when you become an adult, this is the strategy or the automatic nervous system brain response in your relationships.
Entiendo.
Yeah. Okay. And you have these two things at the same time. There's a systemic part that is within the family,
Ujú.
patterns that the family uses to relate. Then you have the neurological part. And later, when you get older, and there's the apego part.
Ajá.
Yeah, what you learned in your childhood, you will use, because there's nothing else of label within your body. Not very much. So you will use that in your new relationships. And then it crashes, because maybe your partner has been in a different ambient, maybe a much more, let's say, chaotic ambient, which is which could be abusive, violent, neglect, or somebody grew up in a secure ambient. Then you're lucky.
Entiendo.
And he can actually hold your internal stress. He can hold your insecurity or your disorganized functioning, and can help you to support it and sustain it and respond to it in an adequate way. So slowly. Hello. Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Entiendo.
So these are the relational,
Dinámica,
dynamic,
relacional, sistémica, somática. Entiendo.
Does this explain a little bit for you?
Sí.
And maybe for the people that will listen to it later.
Sí, yo creo que en español la palabra apego tiene unas connotaciones un poco, a veces, como de dependencia. Entonces, ¿puedes explicar un poco mejor qué significa esto que has mencionado del apego?
It comes from John Bolwby. He developed that in the 50s, and he worked in orphanatos. After the war in England, when children they lost their parents or their father and so on, and they were abandoned. So he worked in orphanatos. He was a psychologist. And he also himself, I think he grew up in an aristocratic family where there's a lot of neglect, and so he was very interested in that. And what he observed in the orphanatos, in the children's homes, is that children, they were really disturbed, and they could not coordinate their movements, their language, and they couldn't hold contact, like secure contact. They couldn't establish that. But what he observed is that there's a few different styles of attachment. Mostly in this ambient, there was the very insecure style, which is that they want, but they can't hold it. And then the disorganized style, the avoidance style is like they don't go in contact at all. And they make lots of noise, and they disturb when there's a few people getting together that are playing, having conversations, and responding to each other. They're hanging out around there, and they're disturbed. They make lots of noise there. And what he notices is like these children that are very disorganized, they have such a high internal arousal that basically when they disturb, they call for alarm because they cannot support this chaos that is within them. So he observed different, 3 different styles of attachment strategies in these children. Okay. And that's very, very interesting, because in certain families or in certain ambience, we develop different attachment styles. So what apego really means is it's a style of attachment. And once you got that style clear, this 4 basic styles: secure attachment, ambivalent attachment, avoidant attachment, and disorganized attachment. Disorganized has very much to do with abuse, violence, neglect, yeah, and that's bastante extreme, and it's very difficult to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A secure attachment style
Mm-hmm.
has an enormous or a much better resilience. Yeah, you know what is happening with the other, you can respond to it, and you also know your own capacity pretty well, and you know what you want. You have your limits clear, you have your needs clear. Yeah, what is it that you like, how you like it, when you like it. Yeah, and you know when you need your space. Yeah, now I need to be a little bit on my own, and I will be back, yeah, very soon. So you can make very clear what your needs are. For an ambivalent character, that's very difficult because he has no or very little contact to his aggression. Yeah?
Aggression?
Aggression is a healthy term.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a destructive term, careful.
Sí, suena a violencia.
Yeah, it's not violence.
Mm-hmm.
It can be violence if it is disorganized, yeah, because this is what really aggression is. Aggresso, going forward.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
means you have a certain energy that can express your limits and saying, here, stop. Yeah, and your needs. Hey, yeah, that's healthy aggression. If you don't have integrated and a container for healthy aggression, you will avoid it. And it will build up and build up and build up and become destructive. Mm-hmm. Aggression only means putting limits and expressing your needs. That's what aggression is for a human being. And when you need it, defend yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Vale. Entonces, a ver si lo he entendido bien. Dependiendo de la relación que se haya tenido con los padres, el ambiente que hemos vivido con nuestros padres, hemos desarrollado distintas estrategias, distintas maneras de relacionarnos con la gente, con nuestras parejas, con nuestra familia, ¿no? Y como eso es inconsciente, porque uno no sabe que hasta que te encuentra a ti o a alguien que le puede explicar cómo esto funciona, esto puede crear relaciones conflictivas, ¿no?
Yeah. What I just clicked on is when you say inconscient. We are conscious of it. We are conscious of that there is a lot of energy, and that it creates a lot of suffering within us. I would like to have contact, but I'm not capable. I don't know how.
Yeah.
These questions, they come up all the time in any individual session, in groups. They come up all the time. I'm alone. I live alone. And I'm sure I would like, but I don't know how. I cannot find him. Yeah, I cannot see him or her. And I can only be maybe for one night or 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then I run. Or for a month, and then I run. And so there's a lot of energy within you, and it's constantly conflicting. Yeah, there's a need and avoiding, and need and a limit. It's like I go out of breath. So the thing is, it is within the body.
Ya, ocurre en el cuerpo, sí.
It's in the body, and what happens in the body, we know, but we don't know how to hold it and stay with it and express it and put words to it. It's the same thing that happened in our childhood,
Ya.
in the development.
Ujú,
Yeah? And it's difficult to put words to it if you don't have them.
claro. Y lo que entiendo es que se puede poner luz o se puede conocer qué carácter tenemos y podemos crear una nueva manera de relacionarnos, ¿no? ¿Es posible cambiar ese patrón?
Now it is, yes.
Sí.
Yes, now it is. Mhm. Mhm.
En-
And it has that's what the somatic experience part and the John Bolwby part, and they come together as two things. It's an
ya.
incredible tool. Before we were very much cognitive, psychological,
Ujú,
or you were a body worker.
ya.
It doesn't include the attachment style. Now we know that it's co regulation that is
Ya.
happening. Yeah,
Ujú,
you actually need somebody out there to help you. It's not really help, to respond to you, to regulate your nervous system.
ya.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do it alone.
Claro,
And
entiendo.
if you do it only in the head, then it's a psychological subject. If you do it only in the body, then it's a muscular tissue thema.
Ujú,
But they work together because that whole thing is a relationship organism. Organisms work together. They relate together. They respond to each other. Yeah, and so it's co-regulation.
ya.
When you are adult, you have a certain capacity to auto-regulate yourself, but then you need again co-regulation.
Ujú,
Yeah, yeah, and that that was a revolution in psycho and body therapy. It's
claro.
a revolution because now we have a very, very clear image of who we are, and we can actually change it because it is not just within the body and it's not just within the head. It's that it's one thing. Yeah.
Entiendo.
So, for example, if I can, when you are angry, no, meaning angry, yeah, in a kind of unhealthy aggression.
Ya.
Yeah, wow, and you start, yeah. What happens is you feeling you are in danger. You're feeling you're getting abandoned. He's not there for you. He doesn't respond to you. He ignores you. He has other priorities. Yeah, and it goes on the list. I don't really exist for you. Yeah, these
Ujú,
are markers. These are markers in your development. Yeah,
ya.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Emotional wounds within your development, they get activated, and you respond to the with this old markers in the present, and you respond with the same fear and attachment defense.
Entiendo.
What you really want is a secure attachment, but the way you bring it out, the way you express it, is with attacking.
Ya.
you attack the person that you love. And the further you go into it, after a while, that person in your what you see, that person becomes your worst enemy. You actually see a monster in front of you if you go extreme now. If you're really in danger, you feel the relationship is in danger, your security is in danger, your survival is in danger. Your reptilian part of your brain will take over. And then something very funny happens. Your neocortex is switched off.
Wow.
You cannot recycle your language. You cannot adequately organize your physical response. Yeah, and you cannot organize the origin of this response. You will not find a sequence in it in your development. So you're completely taken over by the limbic and the reptilian part. Yeah. And what then happens is you up here, very little arrives. It is not understood. You can't understand it. You can't organize it. So later, and that is always when you're in danger, because the neocortex part is much slower. He's not very useful in situations where we feel like we are in danger. And that happens in relationships. Yeah. So what you do when you when you work in a setting of, let's say, a systemic family therapy or individual setting, you bring the nervous system down, grounding, yeah, and noticing what is happening within the body. Slowly integrate the aggression and the fear. Yeah, you integrate that, and then slowly with a healthy rhythm, the neocortex comes online. Yeah, it comes back online, and you can say, aha. And then when there's a certain, let's say, a higher capacity to hold it, that energy then can be used to create a more secure attachment. Yeah. So the aggression is used in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And that's needed. So, yeah, that's apego.
Sí, te estoy escuchando y pienso que mucha gente que vea este vídeo puede parecerle una muy buena noticia lo que estás diciendo, porque hoy en día hay mucha gente que no tiene pareja y piensa que es por su manera de ser o por culpa del otro. Hay mucha confusión del por qué no suceden las parejas, o si tienes pareja, tienes problemas. Entonces, lo que tú estás contando es una explicación con mucho sentido y me encanta, sobre qué es lo que ocurre en el mundo de las relaciones, y saber que podemos cambiarlo y que podemos vivir en un mundo más, en unas relaciones más sanas, me parece muy interesante.
Yeah.
Porque imagino también, y te quiero preguntar, que esto también aflora nuestros problemas a todos los niveles. Me refiero a nivel de salud también,
Ufa.
a nivel...
That's a very interesting. Okay, I interrupt you. That's
sí.
a very interesting how that affects and how relationships affect our health.
Sí,
if you change from an insecure or avoidant attachment style or disorganized attachment style If you change to a your healthy attachment style, lots of your symptoms, they get less, which might be autoimmune symptoms, yeah, which might be yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, skin, muscle,
artritis o cosas así.
anything like that.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah, so
Bien.
this medical tema is very important. It has to do with the organization of our body, our nervous system, which means emotions.
Yeah.
But the emotions organize our body system. That's what they do through the nervous system. Same thing. Emotions and nervous system is the same thing. It's an energy.
Ya. Entonces entiendo que el mundo relacional es tan amplio que igual que entran las relaciones de pareja, las relaciones de familia, todo tipo de relaciones, ahora la salud, imagino, te pregunto también, si por ejemplo a la hora de elegir un trabajo, de hacer lo que a ti te gusta hacer, sabes que mucha gente tiene este problema de hago un trabajo porque es seguro, pero realmente a mí me encantaría hacer otra cosa. Esta incapacidad de encontrar un trabajo que realmente te gusta. ¿Esto tiene también que ver?
Ask them what would you like to do. They say, I don't know.
Ya.
The self, let's say the self, the attachment to yourself, the attachment to your needs has been completely cut in your development. Yeah? It's completely cut. I mean, really, when you have a, imagine, you talk about imagination before, imagine. You have a mother that has very little self-esteem, but is very dominant. Those two things go together. And she keeps saying to you, you are such a good girl, and you are the best thing I have. And I love it when you do that. And now you make your mama unhappy. Don't do this. And slowly, slowly you adapt to that, which we call kind of narcissistic style. You adapt to that narcissistic style where when you are a good girl, yeah, mama responds to you. When you're a bad girl, mama ignores you. When mama needs you, you have to be there. When mama doesn't need you, she drops you in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So mama introduces you to as the most beautiful angel in the world to her friends. And she says, look what a beautiful girl I have, and look how nice she is, and look what I did with her hair today. So nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to her, not even your hair. She made them. Your clothes, she did them. You didn't choose anything for you.
Yeah.
Slowly, slowly, you are there. Your whole orientation from your inside goes towards her, what she needs. So when you dress the way she needs it. When you do your hair, the way she likes it. Yeah, what you saying? You forget completely. Yeah, to reintroduce that into your, yeah, what would you like right now? To reintroduce that is a risky thing.
Yeah.
Because if you connect with your own needs, the brain will tell you, watch out, you lose contact with your money or with your boyfriend. Yeah. So you're doing everything for your boyfriend. You're being, yeah. You can. It's like you just see his movements, you see his facial expression. Yeah, and you're there. You know exactly where he is, and you respond to it without actually asking yourself, one moment, what I do right now, do I continue with that, or yeah?
Ya,
Zhoosh, you're gone. So your whole orientation is outside. It's away from you, even today. And it was helpful in your childhood to save the relationship with your mama. It was essential for you to do that. Yeah. To avoid pain, rejection, yeah, abandonment, and to secure your survival with her.
Entiendo.
Now, with your boyfriend, it's a different case. With my girlfriend, it's a different case. And to organize that can be risky sometimes because they fear that you lose the attachment, the safety, that you will get angry, will come up. And then to hold this arousal in your body and say, woof, that's really scary for me. Yeah, to stay here.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y
But we
entonces,
can.
entiendo. Entonces, tú introduces también, cuando hablas de la somática, de la dinámica relacional, introduces también partes de constelaciones familiares, ¿no?
That's a very nice thing. Family constellation is a great thing, yeah. But as I said in the very beginning, and I use family constellation a lot to get a clear image of the structure and for my let's say the person that is in search of something, of himself or of what's going on with me and my relationship. It's a very nice, perfect tool to see clearly the dynamics within their relationship, and to see very clearly the origin of it. That can help. Yeah. And it helps very much the person that wants to look at it. That's great. But then you do introduce to stay on that level where you have that there's this outside is happening and inside me there's something happening, because the sensations within our body, they're constantly labeled as fear, as anxiety, as needs, or as cold, hot, contracted, tense, whatever. They're constantly labeled as an emotion. Now, if you don't do that for a moment, you just notice what is happening in the body, then you will see it as an arousal or as a collapse. Yeah? If it is becoming too much, we collapse or we freeze. We hold our breath. Yeah? So it's a very fine balance between systemic therapy and somatic approach. Because if you go too far with the systemic work, there may be a collapse within the body. You cannot hold it. Yeah. You disconnect from your body, you disconnect from yourself. And to come back in connection is a risky thing. To hold connection, and it needs a certain outside source that holds it together with you. Okay.
Entonces, también te quería preguntar que hay una formación o un ciclo, no sé si tú le llamas formación o es un ciclo de módulos donde tú hablas o enseñas todo esto. ¿Cómo es? ¿Nos puedes explicar un poco?
Yeah, I mean, we basically work together, no? And let's say you call it ciclo formativo in Spanish, no?
Sí.
Yeah. There's every weekend I would like would put a certain tema and tema somatic experience, attachment strategies, relationships, family dynamics, Heiliges ordens familiares, yeah. If everybody has its place, is safe. But this is all seen through the lens of how that affects your body, how it affects your neurological structure, and your cognitive perception.
Yeah.
And this we explored together in the group, and we pick up. So I have a tema, but at the same time we have the group, and the group comes in with their own tema, or every individual has his own tema. And if somebody comes in with his Jesus, that was too much yesterday, yeah, with my girlfriend, we can support that and explore it and put it into a certain context and maybe clarify something there. So it's individual, it's groupal, and it's also cognitive and to be understanding what's happening within you, yeah, and how can you hold it and organize it and express it physically and verbally. Yeah.
O sea que, digamos que se pueden aprender herramientas para llevar a casa y practicar
Yeah.
en tu día, mejorar tus relaciones, ¿no?
Your relationship, and if you are a therapist, there are lots of tools that you use in your sessions, in your work. Oh yes, I mean, this is how I learned it, yeah. And I tell you something, Teva, it's the somatic experience work and the attachment work is not something that you learn on a weekend.
Me lo imagino.
It takes years to really understand. I mean, there's a superficial understanding, but then intellectual, I mean, yeah, which is helpful. But you cannot be general in it. Yeah. It's like, now express your body and do your movements and see this and that. No, it's because it is such it's such complex organism. It's so complex, our organism, and the responses to situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And situations in relationships. That's what we're dealing with. Yeah.
Pero entonces entiendo que es necesario.
It's enormous.
Sí.
It's wonderful. It takes years. It takes
Entiendo,
years
claro.
to develop. Yeah, it's not a weekend's work. It's a long process. And I think it is good that we work for 1.5 years together. Yeah. In short blocks, 2 days. And if you want, you can be there on Friday also. Where you pick up a chunk and deal with it, and then you meet next month again, and you deal with it, and yeah, we process and process and process, and like that. It's not just verbally; it's action.
Claro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Que me parece genial porque la gente puede asistir para aprender sobre sí misma, para autodescubrirse, para sanar sus relaciones o también para aprender herramientas si es terapeuta, si ese es su campo. O sea que lo que estoy entendiendo es que tiene un campo muy rico de posibilidades, ¿no?
Yeah. It always depends on how much and where you are. I mean, the
Sí.
individual that you're dealing with, right? Yeah.
Bueno, pues yo estaría hablando contigo de esto mucho tiempo, pero yo creo que más o menos tengo una idea general
Yeah.
de todo.
More we cannot do here right now. Yeah.
Claro.
And to deepen it, we can go to let's say single subjects. Yeah, like the attachment styles, nervous system responses, cognitive responses, yeah, and muscle structures, biogenetics. Yeah, it's not bioenergetics, it's biogenetics. It has to do with nervous system responses that we have learned in our physiology. Those are different perspectives. Yeah.
Es que me gusta mucho porque tiene también un background, un fondo científico que sabes que a
Absolutely.
veces constelaciones familiares han sido criticadas porque hay mucha gente que no cree. Bueno, eso ya depende de cada uno, pero me gusta tu manera de haber cogido todo porque encaja muy bien. Y este campo científico da una sensación como de mucha seguridad y de que todo tiene mucho sentido.
And that the science of the neuroscience, right, neurobiology, and the attachment theory, I mean, how well that goes together is an amazing discovery. And the neuroscience has been very, very helpful in understanding John Bolwby's theory. John Bolwby was actually expelled from the Psychological Association for his discovery, because he had a much higher focus on the organization of the body than on the cognitive part. So he was expelled. And now with neuroscience, and the guy was right. The guy actually discovered, yeah, and with neuroscience, we have an explanation for it. Same with Bert Hellinger. Bert Hellinger is lots of hypothetical work, observations within family constellations, but now we have a base, we have a foundation, a scientific foundation for his discoveries.
Yeah.
They're not hypothetical anymore. Some of it you can throw out in the garbage, but some of it are very valuable. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Bueno,
Wonderful.
pues encantada de escucharte y de aprender contigo. Y espero que toda esta explicación le llegue a la gente que tiene interés.
Okay, Teva. And thank you for having me here with you. Yeah,
Gracias a ti.
I enjoyed it very much. And we see each other soon. Okay?
Sí, nos vemos pronto.
Mwah.